Welcome back to RAB Weekly, the baseball newspaper for the hopeless romantic. I'm Lorenzo from Big League Takes, and if you're joining us for this first time, here's the idea. Every week we put together a baseball newspaper. Not just the scores, not just the highlights, the stories. The players who dominated, the players who disappeared, the debates that have baseball talking, the rumors, the milestones. And one story every week that reminds us why we fell in love with the game in the first place. So let's unfold this week's paper and start where every newspaper begins, and that's the front page. And there's only really one story that's leading the headline news this week, and Aaron Judge is out 4 to 6 weeks. For most teams, losing a superstar hurts. For the Yankees, losing Aaron Judge changes the entire American League. The Yankees entered this week tied with the Tampa Bay Rays atop the AL East. Although the Rays currently hold the edge in winning percentage, for the first time all season, there isn't a giant number 99 standing between the rest of the division and first place. And let's be honest about the Yankees are losing. This isn't replacing a 280 hitter and 25 home runs separately. This is one guy that could hit 300 that is going to hit 45 bombs this year. It's replacing the most valuable player in baseball. A player who impacts every pitch before he steps into the batter's box. A player who changes every bullpen's decision. Changes pitch sequencing, changing how opposing managers construct lineups. Nobody replaces Aaron Judge. The question becomes whether the Yankees can collectively survive Aaron Judge. Survive without Aaron Judge. Can Ben Rice and Cody Bellinger continue their breakouts this year? Can Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez cover enough? Because if the answer is yes, the Yankees stay in that AL East race. If the answer is no, the Rays suddenly become one of the biggest stories in baseball. And if their hot May can continue. And what are the bigger changes that are going to happen to the Yankees? Does this mean Jose Caballero goes to right field and Volpe starts every day? I don't think that's the best Yankee team. I don't know what you guys think out there. And as we move away from Judge and go into some of the other big stories around the league, are Mason Miller and Louis Varland just unhittable? Look at these two. Like every week we talk about the dominant starters, the dominant aces in the league. Meanwhile, these two are just turning the final innings of the game into a horror movie for the offenses. Mason Miller has given up 3 earned runs all year. Louis Varland, 1 earned run. And they're nasty. Like these guys, it's game over. Lights out when you see these guys coming in. Like Mason Miller, he looks like he was built in a lab. Like it's triple-digit velocity. The strikeout numbers are ridiculous. It's like 49% K rate. Hitters know that he's coming and what he's throwing, what he likes, and it just doesn't matter. And now Louis Varland doesn't get the same national attention, but he's the nastiest reliever right now at a 0.26 ERA. And it's just incredible. It starts to make that discussion is how much more valuable relievers becoming for these teams. Because if teams can shorten the game to 6 innings, suddenly your margin of error gets a lot less. Love those two. Would like the Blue Jays and Padres to play better so I could see more of those guys in big games. Now let's go on to the Cleveland Guardians. They've used the same 5 starting pitchers all year. 5. The same 5. That's incredible. I know we're only in June, but a lot of teams are in their 8th starting pitcher, 9th starting pitcher for their team. Guardians are staying at 5. And it's an era where every team's losing starters, right? We're juggling injured list, scrambling for innings. Cleveland has somehow made it to June with the same 5 guys taking the ball every turn. It's not luck. It's their development. It's their preparation. It's the organizational philosophy. And you see Parker Messick and Gavin Williams are just special this year. They're really out there shining. And on the flip side, Tanner Bybee and Joey Cantanello have fallen into a rough patch. So even with that, the Guardians are maintaining first in their division. Hell, Tanner Bybee just picked up his first win in the season. So it's not like he's been great. But it's just the consistency that he's going to go out, take the ball every 5 days, give you 5 innings. So that's really special and it's helped the Guardians stay in first place. And finally, on the front page, we had the collision that happened at first base, Max Muncy and Vargas. I think we need the double base at first. And I'm totally okay if Major League Baseball wants to implement it today. Like we're already using in the minors. Put it in baseball today. It's not going to affect anything. We've already seen the safety benefits. Like seeing that photo on the field of just these 2 players curled over because they had a big time collision at first is not good for baseball. And we want to try to eliminate all those unnecessary collisions, right? Preserving the integrity of the game it feels like one of the easiest changes we can make. I know tradition matters, but keeping players healthy matters even more. And with that, we finished the headlines. So now let's turn the page because those stories dominated the front page. A few players spent the week forcing their way into the box scores. And sometimes it's a superstar doing superstar things. Sometimes it's a breakout player announcing themselves. Sometimes it's a guy who gets hot and you have no other choice to write about him. And this week, we have the above-the-fold player, so the best player of the week, and Pete Crow Armstrong. 440 batting average, 41 on base percentage, 920 slugging, 4 home runs this week, 6 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a 290 WRC plus. He's currently on a 12-game hitting streak. A 290, like just step back, a 290 WRC plus. He's almost 3 times better than the league average hitter this past week. He was absurd. My favorite part of this week by PCA, it was his response. He makes a defensive mistake. Sometimes it defines guys' nights, right? You go out there, you make an error in the field, you do a miscue, and you're like kind of down on yourself. Not PCA. Instead, he came back. He delivered the walk-off that day to win the game, and that's like as baseball is as baseball gets. Loved it. The game just has a funny way of testing you and then giving you an opportunity to answer. And if this is the version of Pete Crow Armstrong, we're no longer talking about a future star. He is a star. I love Pete. He's great. Next up is Matt Chapman. And I don't think people realize how ridiculous his 14 RBIs in a week actually is. Like 14. That's a good month for a lot of major league players. He hit 381 this week, 464 OBP, slugged 857. He hit 3 home runs, produced a 243 weighted WRC plus. And on June 5th, he absolutely lost his mind. He hit 2 home runs that day, 8 RBIs, including a grand slam. The Giants did go 4-3 this week, and Chapman was right in the middle of almost every offensive moment they had. And now we head over to Philadelphia because Brandon Marsh has quietly had one of the best weeks in baseball. He had a 500 average, 520 OBP, 917 slugging percentage. He's currently on a 3 home run streak. He did hit 3 home runs last week, and it was all over the weekend, 1 in each game. He had 6 RBIs, 248 WRC plus. And my favorite stat, the guy had a hit in every game. I love seeing that, like looking back at a player's week and saying, yeah, he filled up a box score every game. I love that. The Phillies did go 5-1. They're on some heater right now. And I know that team, everybody focuses on Schwarber and Harper because those are dangerous players. But when Brandon Marsh starts contributing like this, now that is a team with an engine behind them. Love what they're doing. I'm really excited there. And we head over to the mound next, and we see that Gage Jump deserves some serious recognition. He had 2 starts. This is only his second and third career start. He goes 13 1/3 innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. And when you look at what he did and who he faced in these starts, it was at Wrigley, at Houston. Those are 2 ballparks that starting pitchers do not want to go to. That's not a soft landing, especially for a rookie. The Astros lineup can humble the best veterans, and Wrigley can become a nightmare in a hurry with the win that they have out there. Instead, Gage Jump allowed 1 earned run combined and picked up his first 2 career MLB wins. It's really incredible. It's really special, especially in this era. He looked really comfortable. He looks like he belonged. Loved Gage Jump. Really excited to see you continue play, man. And finally, in the box scores, we have Jacob deGrom, who picked up his career wins 100 and 101. He went 11 innings, 7 hits, 0 earned runs, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts. And this is what amazes me about deGrom. Like, we spend years talking about the injuries, what could have been, years about his missed time. Yet every time he's healthy, he immediately reminds everyone why he's the greatest pitcher of our generation. Not one of the best pitchers today, one of the greatest of the generation. Velocity, command, the swing and miss, it's all still there. And he's just adding these milestones to his resume. These are this week's heroes, but unfortunately, not everybody made the paper for good reasons. So let's head over to the police blotter. Some players spent the week filling up the stats sheet, while others spent the week out on police reports. Welcome to the police blotter. And this week, missing persons report goes to Mike Burrows. Specifically, the version of Mike Burrows that got traded to Houston, because right now we can't find him. When the Astros acquired Burrows, there was a lot of excitement. Houston has earned reputation for finding something in pitchers, whether it's tweaking a pitch, changing a grip, unlocking another level. But right now, the results have been ugly. 2 starts, 10 innings, 9 earned runs, 11 total runs, 16 hits, 7 walks, 4 home runs allowed, 2 losses, and the stat that jumps off the page, Mike Burrows allowed more earned runs than any other pitcher in Major League Baseball this year. Not the National League, not the American League, all of baseball. The stuff just doesn't look the same. His arm slot's roughly 10 degrees lower than it was a year ago. The changeup just isn't playing the same. That's his pitch. The deception just isn't there. And hitters are just punishing every mistake he puts out there. 2 home runs allowed against the Athletics, 2 more against the Pirates. The Astros are one of the best pitching organizations in baseball, but right now they're trying to find the version of Mike Burrows they thought they were getting. Next up, we have Brian Bello. And sometimes baseball tells you exactly what it thinks. 1 start, 5 innings, 8 earned runs, 7 hits allowed, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a ticket straight to AAA. Baltimore squared up everything. To score 8 runs in a game and not do it on a single home run, they were just putting the ball in play, just being pest. The Orioles hung 6 runs on him in the first inning, then came back and added 2 more in his final inning in the 5th. It's concerning when you get beat by that much without a long ball, because it just tells you that they're seeing everything. And the Red Sox responded accordingly. They sent him down to AAA. They said, hey, you got something to fix. Let's go figure it out. And we talked about Cleveland earlier. We want to hit him again because Joey Cantillo had one of the strangest bad weeks you ever see. 2 starts. The strikeouts were okay. They're still there. He had 11 of them. He threw over 90 pitches in both starts, so he's getting his length. The results just aren't there. He only went 9 innings, 11 earned runs, 4 home runs allowed. One thing I watch with the struggling pitchers, how long a team leaves them in. The Guardians kept giving him his opportunities to work through it. They wanted him to figure something out. Instead, the damage just kept coming. He allowed 4 at Yankee Stadium, 7 more against Texas. Sometimes the line between a quality start and a disaster, a couple of mistakes. This week, every mistake Joey Cantillo made got punished. Now, if we head over to the hitting side, we go over to San Diego because the Padres stars are missing. Manny Machado this week, 125 batting average, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, -2 WRC plus. Xander Bogaerts, .053 batting average, .182 on base percentage, -17 WRC plus, 1 RBI. They get swept by the Phillies. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets. To go 1-5 on the week for the Padres, like this was a team that was in second in the NL West, and now they're just fading away because their offense just isn't competing. And when here's the problem: is when 2 of your highest paid players combine for 3 RBIs all week, you're not really going to win games. The Padres don't need Machado and Bogaerts to carry them every week, but they absolutely need more than this. Last player we have on the police blotter, Luke Raley. A 100 batting average, 100 OBP, 150 slugging, no home runs, no runs scored, no RBIs, a -35 WRC plus, 8 strikeouts, a 42.9% strikeout rate. He struck out in every game he played this week. Every game. I know strikeouts are kind of his thing, but you couldn't give me one without one, brother. The Mariners managed to go 3-3 despite it. But this is one of those weeks where absolutely nothing went right at the plate. And that's the police blotter. Now let's put away the incident reports, turn over the opinions because it's time for the classifieds. So every week we're buying something, selling something, and helping baseball find qualified applicants. Let's start with the buy. This week I'm buying Tarek Screwball stays in Detroit. Every day somebody on the internet creates a new trade package. Every day somebody sends him to the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Orioles. Pick a contender and somebody has already mocked him up already. I don't buy it. The Tigers are getting Screwball back after what was supposed to be a significantly longer absence. Most timelines had him returning closer to the deadline. Instead, he's already completed his rehab assignment and is heading back to Detroit. And here's the thing. The Tigers aren't really buried. Right? They're not waving the white flag. They're not 20 games out. They're kind of hanging around. They're 10 games back right now. It's not where they wanted to be or where they hoped to be, but it's close enough that adding a healthy Screwball might matter more than trading him. The internet loves trade rumors because they're fun. I get it. Everybody wants to play fantasy general manager. But if you're Detroit and you still think you have a path to October baseball, why would you trade him? Right? I'm buying that he stays exactly where he is, because why would you bring him up 2 months earlier? You let him wait closer to the deadline, and you don't need him to come back earlier for trade bait. You need him to come back earlier to win. So let's move on to the sell. And this week, I'm selling the idea that analytics are ruining baseball. Manny Machado had the comments, but I just wish we could get the analytics out of the way. I think there's too many stats out there, too many stats, way too many numbers. I don't know half of the stuff that goes up there. And honestly, I understand the frustration. Analytics shouldn't be the entire conversation. They shouldn't be every decision that we make. Shouldn't replace baseball instincts. But they're also not the enemy. Because here's what analytics do. They find undervalued players. They help teams identify swing changes, pitchers add new pitches, help maximize their careers, players maximize their careers, help players get paid. The problem isn't analytics. The problem is treating analytics like it's the only answer. The best organizations use their analytics and their scouting, numbers and instincts, data and feel. It's not supposed to be one or the other. It's supposed to be both. And sometimes I think baseball fans blame analytics for things they actually hate about front offices. That's not the same thing. Analytics aren't ruining baseball. Bad decision makers ruin baseball. And Manny, it's not analytics causing you to hit 175 this year. So let's wrap up with the help wanted section. This week's listing comes from starting pitchers. They need thicker skin. Starting pitchers need thicker skins. Apparently, some are tired of openers. Some are tired of sharing innings. Some are tired of seeing another pitcher start a game for them. To which I have one response. Get outs. That's it. Get outs. If a team believes an opener gives them a better chance to win, they're going to use an opener. Because the goal isn't protecting feelings. The goal is to win baseball games. And look, I understand the traditional view. Starting pitchers grow up wanting the ball. They want to be the ace. I respect that. But baseball has changed. Bullpens matter more. Matchups matter more. Teams are trying to squeeze every possible advantage out of a game. And if a pitcher is upset about an opener, my response is pretty simple. Pitch well enough that the team never considers using one. Because nobody is using an opener in front of a Jacob deGrom, in front of a Tarek Skubal, in front of a Paul Skeens, a Cam Schlittler. The list goes on. Because if you're dominant, the conversation ends. So have some thicker skins, starting pitchers. If you're done, and that's this week classified. And now it's time to count some votes because we're going over the polls. So welcome to the polls. We're once a month, we're checking in on the major award races. Not who won them, but who would win them today if I had a vote. And if you're yelling at your screen, good. That means we're doing this right. So let's start with the American League MVP. My ballot today would be Yordan Alvarez, Ben Rice, Bobby Witt Jr. And just outside, you got Kevin McGonigal and Shea Langeliers. And honestly, this race has changed the second that Aaron Judge got hurt. So let's start with Yordan. He's a real threat for the Triple Crown this year. He's currently leading the American League with 22 home runs and 48 RBIs. And he's only behind Yandy Diaz for the batting average. He's currently hitting .316 right now. His stat page on Baseball Reference is bolded out this year. It's the Air Yordan show. And for me, he's the AL MVP right now. Second, I have Ben Rice. He's having a great year. 299 average, 18 home runs, 45 ribbies. He's one dotting on the year with his OPS. This kid is special. He's the lefty pop that creates another stratosphere in the Bronx. It's just so exciting out there right now. And now at Judge out, his importance to the Yankees becomes even bigger. It's one thing to produce. It's another thing to produce when everybody in the stadium knows you need it. That's where I have Ben Rice right now, second in my ballot. Third, I have Bobby Witt Jr. And honestly, if somebody voted Bobby Witt first, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't argue with that. He currently leads baseball in B-WAR. Leads the American League in B-WAR. He's the full package. He has power, speed, defense, base running. He impacts every part of the game. Sometimes we get caught up in the MVP conversations because we forget value in more ways than just hitting home runs. Just the Royals have been it's just that the Royals have been a huge disappointment for me this year. That's the reason I have him third on my ballot. Like Bobby Witt, 3.7 B-WAR, 9 home runs, 280 average, 27 RBIs, 23 stolen bases. This kid is finding a way to help his team try to win. Unfortunately, the Royals aren't putting it together this year. Now let's move to the National League, where we have Shohei Ohtani on my ballot. I have Shohei Ohtani, Drake Baldwin, Corbin Carroll, James Wood, Kyle Schwarber just outside. And yes, Ohtani's still first. At some point, we run out of things to say. Every year, he does something ridiculous. Every year, we act surprised. Every year, he keeps doing it. The expectation for Ohtani has become impossible. He's already at a 5.2 B WAR, and we just started June. 300 average. His ERA is under 1. Like, these things are hard to do in a video game, and he's doing it in a major league level. It's incredible. And he just keeps clearing every goal expectation that we put in front of him. He's absolutely a stud. Number 1 on my MVP ballot. And next up, I have Drake Baldwin. And it's because the Braves are a machine. They were the first team to 40 wins, series win after series win after series win, and Baldwin is just a huge reason why. When voters look at MVP races, team success matters, whether we like it or not as fans. And Baldwin is right there in the middle of the best team in baseball. He has a 303 average, 13 home runs, 38 RBIs, a 2.5 B WAR. The Braves found something special there. And rounding out my top 3 is Corbin Carroll. His speed, power, defense, all exciting every day on the ball field. Every time he starts slipping from the conversation, he puts together another month that reminds everybody exactly who he is, and the D-backs are surging right now. Such a fun team. He has a 2.8 B WAR, 10 home runs, 31 RBIs, 285 average, 7 stolen bases, and the triples machine already has 8 on the season. He's led the last 3 years in triples. He's leading again this year. It's just so much fun to watch him every time he plays. So let's head over to the mountain. We're in the American League for the Cy Young. My top 3 are Cam Schlittler, Davis Martin, and Jose Soriano, with Parker Messick and Gavin Williams right behind them. I think they're having great years. I've got Cam first because if you look at the numbers, he's the best in baseball, best in the American League right now. The strikeouts, the workload, the consistency. He's a stabilizing force in that rotation. He's 7-3 this year. And now the next stats I'm going to read off to you, he leads the league in the American League in each one of these stats. He's a 1.87 ERA. He's at 82 innings pitched, a 2.22 ERA plus, a 2.12 FIP, a 0.866 WHIP. Like, this kid is outstanding. And it's incredible that the Yankees have him. Like, going into the season, you're like, oh, Cole's hurt for the first half. Rodon's hurt for the first month or 2. And then you get Max Fried gets hurt. And we knew Cam Schlittler last year because the kid had a big playoff moment and some 14 great starts last year. But to see him do it again this year, it's really special to watch his starts. Next up, I have Davis Martin, and he's I think it's reached the point where we could stop saying it's a nice season for a White Sox pitcher. He's just having a great season, period. The results are there. The innings are there. The production is there. I think he's earned the spot. He's 8-2 this year, 2.61 ERA, 72 1/3 innings pitched, 1.63 ERA plus, 2.46 FIP, 1.106 WHIP. And the White Sox are a playoff team right now. Davis Martin's their ace. It is so much fun. Jose Soriano rounds out the top 3 for me. The stuff has always been nasty. The stuffer is red hot to begin the year. He's cooled off since May started. But he's still 7-4, 2.96 ERA, 82 innings pitched, a 1.41 ERA plus, 41% better than the league average. I'm like, yeah, just a 1.41 ERA plus, 3.98 FIP, 1.244 WHIP. I don't expect him to stay in the top 3, unfortunately. I think Parker Messick and Gavin Williams and another plethora of pitchers behind him are going to jump him. But as of right now, he's in my top 3. So if we move over to the NL Cy Young, I have Christopher Sanchez, Jacob Misiorowski, Shohei Ohtani, with Chris Sale and Chase Burns right on their heels. We can start with Sanchez. The scoreless streak has ended, but the dominance didn't. 50 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings pitched this year. Wow. Like, if you think about that, that's nearly 6 complete games worth of scoreless baseball. The streak gets the headlines, but here's what I care about. He's always consistent. His command is top-notch. His ability to avoid hard contact, his ability to work deep into games. I think that's what wins Cy Young awards. 7-2 this year, 1.46 ERA, 86 1/3 innings pitched, 2.98 ERA plus, 1.80 FIP, 1.089 WHIP. Wow, that's special. Second, Jacob Misiorowski, and Jacob is must watch. Triple-digit velocity. He has elite swing and miss stuff. Last week, he just had 20 strikeouts and 14 innings pitched. The stuff jumps off the screen. He's 7-2, 1.50 ERA, 78 innings pitched, 2.73 ERA plus, 1.91 FIP, a 0.808 WHIP, and he leads all of baseball in strikeouts. It's incredible. And then you have Shohei Ohtani, because being MVP candidate just isn't enough for Shohei. He's just forcing his way into the Cy Young conversation too. At some point, we're all just witnesses. So let's wrap up these awards with the rookies. The American League have Kevin McGonigal, Parker Messick, and Murakami, with Peyton Toll and Tristan Peters right behind them. Kevin M gets my vote today. Every time I check the numbers, they're better. Every time I watch him, he looks comfortable. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels overwhelmed. He just looks like a star. 3.5 B WAR, 291 average, 4 home runs, 24 ribbies, 9 stolen bases, 130 OPS plus. This kid is doing it in every facet of the game. He's a great ball player. I'm really excited to see the rest of his career. National League Rookie of the Year, I have it as J.J. Weatherholt, Connor Griffin, Nolan McLean, with Braggley Rodriguez and Sal Stewart just outside around in my top 5. Weatherholt sits atop because of the hit tool is exactly what scouts prompt. Like, this guy, he's a true bat. He's a great kid. 2.7 B WAR, 246 average, 9 home runs, 25 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, and a 116 OPS plus. But Connor Griffin is becoming one of the young stars in baseball right on his heels, and Nolan McLean continues to force his way in conversations every time he steps on the mound. And that's this week at the polls. So now let's leave the awards behind us because every newspaper needs a section that gets a little weird. Let's head over to page 6. So welcome to page 6, the gossip page, the weird page, the only in baseball page. And let's start with Joe Adell, because if you haven't seen it yet, I generally recommend looking it up. A baseball hit Joe Adell in the head, and it ended up going over the fence for a home run. Now, eventually was changed to an error, but for a brief moment in baseball history, getting hit in the head was an offensive strategy. We all remember that moment for Jose Canseco. Hopefully this doesn't eclipse Adell's 3 home run robbery game earlier in the year, but it is a funny moment in baseball. Next up, we have former first-round pick Jordan Adams, who spent years in the minors, is now 26 years old. He's heading over to SMU to play college football next year as a wide receiver. Can we get this mode in the next college football Road to Glory? Go get drafted in baseball, go play a professional sport for a few years in the minors, and then just, I want to change it up. I want to go be a Division I athlete at a sport I haven't picked up in 7 years. Yeah, that's great. Phenomenal. I'm genuinely curious how this plays out. When we head over to Chicago on the south side, the White Sox are hosting what is probably the most random home run derby roster I've ever seen. They're having a fun exhibition for their fans, bringing out some White Sox legends: Daniel Palka, Alexi Ramirez, Scott Presendick, Louis Garcia, and Gordon Beckham, and Jose Canseco. When I first saw this list, I had 2 thoughts. Number 1, I forgot Jose Canseco even played on the White Sox. And number 2, how does a franchise with Frank Thomas, Paul Konerko, Jermaine Dye, Carlos Lee, and so many other power hitters throughout its history end up with this group? I actually kind of love it because it's weird. It's random. It feels like the White Sox. And the last thing to talk about on this page is the game. If you guys haven't seen it on the internet yet, 162-0. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's just basically baseball. Just type in 162-0. It's basically baseball fans playing fantasy general manager with no consequences. You draft an offense, you hit complete, and you just see what happens. That's it. No spreadsheets, no 12-page Excel documents, no arguing over the luxury tax threshold. Just baseball fans throwing random lineups together and seeing if the computer thinks that they'd score 10 runs. And honestly, it's a blast. One of my favorite things about baseball is that the game is serious enough to support advanced analytics and deep conversations, but also silly enough that grown adults will spend hours debating whether a lineup made entirely of 2004 Red Sox players could beat a lineup made entirely of 1998 Yankees. Baseball should be fun, and 162-0 is fun. Sometimes that's enough. And speaking of fun, let's turn the page one more time, because every week there's one story that reminds us why we fell in love with baseball in the first place. And this week we're going to the love letter. So more than the standings, more than B-WAR, more than WRC+, it's the human side of the game, right? That's why we love baseball. This week's love letter goes out to Royce Lewis, because baseball loves to show us the arrival, the debut, the prospect rankings, the top 100 lists, the walk-off moments. What baseball doesn't show enough is what happens when it stops going right. Royce Lewis was supposed to be one of the faces of the Twins, the former first-round pick, the superstar prospect, the future cornerstone, and for stretches he looked exactly like that. But baseball's a weird way of humbling you. The last few years, his swings got out of sync. His confidence has faded. The production has disappeared. And eventually, Minnesota made the decision that not every player you don't want to hear as a baseball player. They send you down. And this isn't a fringe prospect. This isn't a journeyman. This was their cornerstone. Back to AAA. But here's where I gained a lot of respect for Royce Lewis. He didn't complain. He didn't make excuses. He went to work. The Twins wanted him to rebuild. He rebuilt the swing. He rebuilt the defense. He rebuilt his confidence. And that's, by all accounts, what happened. The leg kick returned. The timing returned. The comfort returned. The results followed. In 15 games, he had 10 home runs. He had 22 RBIs, a 333 batting average, a 216 WRC plus in the minors. And that's 2 weeks. He's just reminding everybody who he is. But my favorite part isn't the story, isn't the numbers. It's the willingness to adapt. Because Royce Lewis isn't coming just back. He's coming back different. He's playing first. He's going to be playing second. First base is a brand new position to him. But he's saying, hey, whatever helps the team win, I'm there. And I think that's important because a lot of players want the spotlight. A lot of players are not willing to do whatever is necessary to get back into a team's good graces. But that's what Royce Lewis did. He accepted the challenge, accepted the criticism, accepted the work, and now he's back in the big leagues. Maybe this becomes a footnote. Maybe it becomes a turning point in his career. We don't know yet. But I know this. Baseball's full of comeback stories, and some of the best ones don't start with a walk-off home run. They start with a demotion, a tough conversation, a player deciding he's not done yet. That's Royce Lewis, and that's why he's this week's love letter. Now let's fold up the newspaper, head over to the back page, because before we turn into next week's edition of bed, there are a few series milestones that I just want you guys to keep your eye out on. So on the back page, stories that haven't happened yet, the milestones that are within reach in the series that could shape next week's headlines. So let's start with the series to watch. I think you have some division heat going on. You got the Yankees at Blue Jays, Tigers at Guardians. And if the Judge didn't get hurt, Yankees Blue Jays might have just been another good series. Now it feels massive. The Yankees are trying to survive without the most important hitter in baseball, Toronto season opening. And if the Blue Jays take the series, suddenly the AL East race looks very different. Then you've got the Tigers and Guardians. Detroit's getting Skubal back. Can the Tigers bring that momentum and get back in this race? Every game matters for them. Every inning matters. It could be really tight there. Next up, we have the Blue Bloods versus the Surprises. The Braves, they're blue blood. The Mets, surprise. Dodgers, we all know them. White Sox, complete surprise this year. So starting with Atlanta, New York, the Braves are the first team to 40 wins. Everything they touch seems to work right now. The Mets are the Mets this year. Everything that can go wrong has for them. So it's a very interesting series to watch. You're at home in New York. Possibly the Knicks are winning this week as well. How much of that momentum can come back to the Mets? Now we have the Dodgers and the White Sox, and it kind of sounds strange that this is one of their headlines, especially looking into the season for this year. It's one of baseball's biggest glamour franchises, right, against baseball's biggest surprise right now. That's why I love it, because every year baseball reminds us that the preseason expectations don't mean much once the games start. And finally, we got two series with something to prove. You got the Mariners and Nationals, Marlins at Pirates. These probably aren't leading Sports Center, but they might tell us a lot. Can Seattle's pitching slow down the Nationals' offense? Or can Seattle's offense use Nationals' poor pitching to get them fully going? Pirates and Marlins are full of young, fun players that are exciting to watch. Dominant pitchers and hitters that are pesky. But don't be shocked when they hit 1/430. Sometimes the most important series are the one nobody's paying attention to. I love both of those series. I'm going to be tuned in for sure this weekend. So now we head over to the milestones. Matt Chapman's just 2 total bases away from 2,000 for his career. Chapman's one of the most underrated superstars of the last decade. When we talk about third baseman, we talk about Arenado, we talk about Machado, but he is one of the best third basemen out there. George Springer needs 2 home runs for 300, which is a really special milestone. At his peak, George Springer is the most dangerous leadoff hitter in baseball, and he's 2 swings away. Mookie Betts is three home runs away for 300. He just continues to fill his Hall of Fame resume. The kid's got Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, MVPs, World Series. He has to have 300 to the bag too, Mookie. Josh Bell is 1 home run away from 200. One mistake from a pitcher, and he joins the 200 club, so it's really impressive. Chris Sale is 3 strikeouts away from 27th all time. In the entire history of baseball, every strikeout, that's incredible. 27th all time. He's just moving further and further into the baseball record books. And finally, you have Freddie Freeman, 3 doubles away from moving into 29th all-time, which is extremely fitting for Freddie Freeman. He spent his entire career just doing things quietly. He has no drama, no controversy, just line drives, doubles, hits, Hall of Fame numbers. And when you think about milestones, some happen in one swing, some happen over the course of 20 years. But they all remind us that we're watching history, whether we realize it or not. And with that, we've reached the end of this week's edition. We've covered the headlines, the heroes, the cold streaks, the debates, the awards, the weird stories, and one reminder that baseball is still the most human game on earth. And if you're joining us for the first time, that's RAB Weekly, a baseball newspaper for the hopeless romantic. I'm Lorenzo from Big League Takes. Thank you for spending part of your week with us. We'll be back next week with another edition, another set of headlines, another reason to fall in love with the game of baseball over and over again. Until then, keep your scorebooks handy, and we'll see you on next week's edition. Thank you.